So I'm kind of surprised that this is our first instance of a map returning from the last game. This is the bridge chapter, and yes, it still has pitfalls, though I'll talk about them later. Funny, both times we're on this map we're fighting Dayan, but now we're going from the opposite direction. So, our deployment allocations in this chapter, we have 12 slots, but 2 of them are filled by Sigurd and Tanith, so we really only have 10. There is actually a reason these two are forced in this chapter, and if you check conditions, it's actually a game over if either of them dies, and again, there is a reason for this. Also, this is a Siege chapter, which are very rare in Radiant Dawn. So, obviously I want Soren. Let's see who I bring here. Well, in fact, it's more a question of who I'm not bringing. Is there anyone in this list who could help me at all in this one? Titania, I guess, but I kind of like having 2 healers. Okay, I don't have Rice here, and that's not good. You know what? I might as well kick out Mist and put Rice in, because he has better range of physic. Soren will act as my second healer. And everyone else, I think Ulki is going to be fairly useful here. Or I could show off Titania in 3rd tier a little bit. Don't actually plan on fully using her, but I might as well. We actually have plenty of... Although I just realized, wait a minute. You know what? Maybe I should actually take Ulki. Reason being, because of the pitfalls, flyers are going to be really, really helpful here to rescue and carry people. Especially since... Okay, so like last time, I'm not going to look up where the pitfalls are, because I want to just be surprised by them. But I will say, the pitfalls are a lot more dangerous than they were in the last game. In this game, any character who falls in a pit is automatically hit by any attacks directed at them. They can't dodge. So, this means that regardless of how high your speed is, this means the character with high speed but low defense really need to be careful in this chapter, or they could easily end up getting slaughtered. So, also we have a bunch of, a wide variety of different types of enemies. Now, some of the enemies in this map, let me see if I can check them. The rescue staff guy here is weird. Also, they put a lock on rescue so that you can't disarm him and steal this. We will be getting access to rescue soon, but not yet. They were fully aware of how overpowered rescue was in Fire Emblem by now. So, yeah, here we go. So the enemies have shine barriers. I mentioned that we'd be seeing shine barriers put to use in a later chapter. This is that chapter. They'll try and use shine barriers to force you to step in pitfalls. And sometimes the enemy will set up their shine barriers in such a way that it's impossible to pass a certain part of the map with foot units unless flyers carry them. Ike happens to be a foot unit, and that, I believe, is why these two are not only forced into the chapter, but give a game over if they die. Because I believe that if you didn't have any flyers and you activated a certain amount of pitfalls past a certain point, this chapter would actually be unwinnable, because Ike wouldn't be able to reach the seize points unless you had flyers to rescue and carry him. So, in case, let's say, Har and Marsha are both dead, and Janeth and Ulki were both dead, if these two died, you would have no way of ending the chapter if Ike got stuck behind pitfalls. So, that's why I believe that their death gives a game over now. There is kind of another reason why Sigurd's death gives a game over, but I'll talk about that later. So, repositioning. I guess Gatry should head as far forward as he can. Rolf can afford to be a little behind. In fact, I actually think I'll have Nefany head forward first, because Rolf has range. Soren will stay back. Yeah, Soren needs to really watch out for the pitfalls. If he falls in a pit, he's probably going to die. Har will take a more central position, and I think this should be about right. Actually, wait a minute. Do I have any spare Lagoo stones? Because Raisin's not here. Ranulf is really my best option for those. I think I don't have any. Yeah, looks like I don't have any. Okay, then. So, let's first save so I don't lose that 40-minute long preparations video, and get right to it. Okay, the Bridge of Pitfalls, take 2. Oh, I forgot to show this guy off. This is Goron. Goron I find to be a really interesting character. Oh, and we have a new face fan now that we are a new faction, the Apostles' Army. We also have a new battle theme, but I'll get to that later. I find Goron really interesting. Well, he has cat magic and resistance, which is weird. He also has an Akar, or an Aquar, I don't know how you pronounce that, but it's a very powerful crossbow, like it describes there. I'll get more into Goron once we reach him, but he is very interesting, I find. There's also an enemy here with a droppable Horse Slayer. There is one problem with this chapter that you'll be seeing a little later, and it means that Horse Slayer can be a little hard to get your hands on. You know what, maybe I should send Ike forward to try and scan out pits, because he has, and by the way, Ragnar is locked. I should probably equip that now. Just like the last game, Ragnar gives +5 defense, and it has 18 might, 5 crit, weight 20, but that doesn't matter. I was about to say something there, but no, I'll leave talking about that for later. No pit there. I'm using Ike to scout out pits because, if he falls in one, he at least has shade, so he has less of a chance of being attacked. Guess I'll just equip the hand axe. And Mia can use her Storm Sword now. I'm glad that we finally have Storm Swords and not Wind Edges. Though this wouldn't be one rounding without Gatry's support, because that, I know for a fact now, that support gives +2 attack. I think you're probably seeing now why I love True Blades in this game. Oh, also I talked all the way over that battle theme. This is a new battle theme in this one, and this is our new battle theme, as we're now the Apostles' Army, and it's a very interesting battle theme, I find. It's called Time of Action. I'll go into it in more detail the next time it plays. And I kind of want to show off Rend on Ranulf, so I'll boost him up with an Olivia Grass a little bit. Now, the good news about this one is that the enemies don't have ballistas here. They do have a stone thrower, but stone throwers are terrible, so really don't need to worry about that. And these sandbags aren't destructible, thankfully. In fact, they're kind of working to our advantage here. I think this is our first time seeing Dayan Paladins, though. Also, the enemy Swordmasters have finally stepped up their speed game. We are, however, 3rd tier now, so they're not that much of a threat to us. Might as well pick the Silver Lance. And yes, we have Micaiah's army's face fanfare, and, again, this song as the enemy phase theme. Get used to it. This will be our enemy phase theme for most of the rest of this part. As tragic as that is. Well, that's Paragon working. I probably could have given Paragon to someone else, but that's a nice level, though I would have appreciated speed. Did I equip her? I'm pretty sure I didn't. No, I did not. I want to get back to my turn so I can continue to talk about Time of Action. Gotta remember that Gatry has Provoke as well. There's another battle theme called Finale in Fear, which is also a cool sounding name. The Devoted on Glory's Wings. Well, I mean, Micaiah's first one is just called Dawn Brigade. I mean, it's fitting, but it's not quite as cool as some of the other names. I think this battle theme is called March, with an exclamation mark. In fact, it's probably my least favorite battle theme in the game, but that's not saying much. It's still a very good song. I just like the other battle themes better. And I definitely prefer the first Dawn Brigade battle theme too. I kind of feel like the Dawn Brigade named characters, or at the very least Edward, Leonardo, and Nolan, and Micaiah, should have actually had the original Dawn Brigade battle theme as their boss music. That would have been cool. By the way, I did play different music over the fights with named characters in 3.7. They don't actually have a boss theme. I think only Micaiah does, and since I've never attacked Micaiah in melee in that chapter, I don't know what boss theme she has. But I think it's the same one that's the boss theme in 3.13. I have a feeling there's a pit there. Let me just go ahead and test the waters with Ike. Yep, I thought so. So, Ike is now guaranteed to be hit by any attacks. Also, once you cross a certain point on the map, Tibon appears. Ike's like, no problem, Tibon. Could you help me out of this pit? So for some reason, I'm not really sure why they do this, but our heroine is changed from Raisin to Leanne. Yes, we are. However, she's kind of stuck in a bad position at the moment. I'm gonna need to try and kill off these enemies quickly, otherwise, yeah, she could be in major danger. In fact, I might need to apply the Holy Guards here. Are there any bow users waiting in the wings? Doesn't look like it. Yeah, the great thing about flyers is they don't have to worry about the pits. And of course, if a flyer, I'm pretty sure it works the same way it does in Path of Radiance. If a flyer stands on the position where a pit would be, then foot soldiers or cavalry can pass through that without falling in the pit, because obviously 2 units can't occupy the same space at the same time. There are a lot more catapults in the map, like, background than there are on the map itself, which is kind of weird. And yeah, I thought she'd be stuck there. However, I can finally demo 3rd tier Tanith, who is one of the coolest things to ever exist. She doesn't kill you. I mean, she could get stun, which would be amazing. Please get stun. I can't get over how cool she looks. This is probably my favorite, like, design for a Pegasus Knight in any Fire Emblem game. It's basically Ashnard's color scheme, but on a Pegasus Knight. And again, I talked over time of action, so I'm gonna stop doing that. I think I'll actually have Mia throw her javelin at this guy. So Time of Action is a very interesting song to me. It's very fast and very, very hectic, and you could almost describe it as chaotic in a way. And there's a reason why I'm using that term. But also, and so as you can see here are the advantages of being able to shoot at 3 range with Marksman. Because I still have a 91 hit rate, and with Silencer, a 100 hit rate, even with the minus 30 to hit I get from attacking from 3 range. Also, you can still Deadeye from this range, as Rolf will hopefully demonstrate now. Nope, but he got a critical instead. And Corrosion. So, you're dead and your weapon is gone. Because being level 1 3rd tier, Rolf reduces weapon durability on the enemy by 41. So that's enough to break the majority of weapons in this game. I suppose I can head over here. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a pitfall at some point. So it sounds kind of heroic, but I've always found there was something very subtly wrong sounding about this song. It does really give this sense. I don't know if many other people have this feeling as well, but to me it really gives this sense of a battle that shouldn't be happening. Again, it's a very frantic song, and it almost sounds a bit too frantic. There's something a bit unnatural about how fast it is, and again, it just really gives that sense of, should we really be doing this? And I'll leave you to ponder the implications of that. You know what, I'm actually going to shove Rolf over here just to block off this area a bit. Soren needs to be... I think I'm going to be very conservative with Soren's movement. Yeah. Okay, I'm pretty sure that Leanne is going to be safe if I move her here. And I've got to remember that Leanne, 1, has less movement than Raisin does, and 2, can chant for 2 people even untransformed. So it's less vital to spam transformation items on her. You know what, Nephany might as well... You know what, I have a feeling that's a pit. So in case that is a pit, I'm going to go ahead and equip the spear. No, it's not a pit. Okay then. Kind of surprised. I don't want Nephany and Har to be leading the charge too much because they are the highest leveled of my 3rd tiers, and I kind of don't want them to be too powerful for reasons. And I believe that is, yep, that's Lance SS. That's our first SS rank. So Nephany now has an SS rank in Lances, which means she can use the ultimate Lance, but you won't be getting until endgame, so yeah. Now, I like to call off Tiban and these two Hawks, because this happens to anything Tiban gets his talons on. And on my hard mode playthrough of this chapter, I know I keep saying on my hard mode playthrough, but yeah, I like to recount stories from that. Tiban killed the guy with the Horse Slayer, although I'm pretty sure that means that it still goes into Convoy. But anyway, I don't like it when he steals all my experience, so I'm gonna go ahead and order Tiban to halt. I'll show his stats on my next phase, and trust me when I say that you're gonna be pretty intimidated when you see what Tiban's stats are in this one. Yeah, if you thought Lagoo's Royals were broken in the last game. So about now is the point where the enemy usually, they're applying the light runes. Or the shine barriers. I keep calling them light runes by mistake. The rescue staff guy is really weird. I've heard reports of him rescue staffing an enemy into a space that has a pit, and then the enemy just teleports and then instantly falls in the pit. But you can get it pretty, you can kind of judge where the pits are by the placement of the shine barriers. So obviously they're blocking us going this way because they want us to go this way, or this way, and that can probably tell you that there's likely to be pits here or here. Once again, I think I'll have Ike scout out the pits. No pit there, no pit there, good, which means the pit is probably there. I might as well show Ike fighting with Ragnar at least once, but I kind of also want experience for everyone. I don't like wasting the Storm Sword on you, but I want Mia to get a little bit of experience because she's a bit behind. So hopefully you got to hear a bit more of the song there. I don't know how many people share my opinion on that song, but I still think it's a very interesting song, because I still find that there's just something that sounds subtly wrong about it. And Rolf being paralyzed means that even if I have Leanne chant for him, he won't be able to get out of that pit. I guess I can use up more uses of this Great Lance. Even with the pitfalls in play, with a lot of third tiers, this chapter is really not that bad. On my hard file, again, I keep saying that, I only had Har and Nephany as third tier, and they both pretty much just rampaged through this map, unopposed. Maybe I shouldn't have given Gatry Paragon, he's leveling up way too much. No speed on 2 levels is unfortunate. Not that generals really need speed, but Gatry's supposed to be a fast one. I'm glad that his defense is getting this high, though. The one unfortunate thing is that generals in this game don't exactly have the highest defense cap for a third tier class. Soren is not really doing too well here. Right, there is a Thunder Mage back there, gotta remember that. But I think I might actually send... Let's actually send Har back here and try and fight you a little bit. Killer weapons aren't exactly as valuable to third tiers because all third tiers essentially have a secondary chance of getting a critical. That's really what most mastery skills are. In fact, one of the mastery skills is literally just a second chance of getting a critical hit, because all it does is triple damage and nothing else. We won't be seeing that one for a while, though. Okay, Ranulf is actually fully transformed. I can't quite. Unless I can have Ulki shove him or something. Nope. Guess I may have to use Leanne. If I move Neff out of the way... I don't like wasting uses of the spear too, because spears are very valuable and kind of rare weapons. Gradually making our way down the bridge. So no one's been attacked while in a pit so far. That will probably change. And I just realized that is almost certainly a pit. I was gonna have Ranulf and or Mia go there, but like I said, that's almost certainly a pit. Oh, and I can't. I'm used to Celerity Racing. I could at least get Soren to move a little bit further, though. They must have had to repair this bridge between games, I just realized. Well, Soren can actually attack something for once in this chapter. But yeah, I am being very cautious with him, because if he falls in a pit near a bunch of enemies, he's probably dead. The pitfalls are much, much more deadly than they are in the last game. So even third tiers are sometimes at risk from falling in them. Enemies having guaranteed hit on you is always a bad thing. Now, you know what though, I might be able to... Let's try this actually. Although, wait, I can't even move anyone across there anyway, because Ranulph doesn't have his movement refreshed. Okay, no pits for Ike so far. I mean, I don't really intend on using Tanith very much, but I just want to show off how she looks in third tier, because it's amazing. The actual animations themselves don't really look all that different to second tier Pegasus Knights, but just, I love Tanith's third tier outfit. Sigun's is nowhere near as cool looking. But I mean, at least Sigun is actually playable, because she was in the last game, but obviously not playable. Did I give you any... Well, I did at least give you a Javelin, I might as well do that. Got to be very careful of Rice as well. At least I can't attack, which is good. And then Ulti will go over here just in case he needs to carry anyone across pits. I forgot to call off Tiban and the Hawks again, and I also forgot to show off his stats, but that's fine because he attacked nothing, although he's probably... Yeah. The enemies are smart enough to not directly target Tiban if they have other options. So that's good, but I'm probably going to order him to halt now. Even these generic Hawks are really strong. Even from a story standpoint, I'm not entirely sure why Tiban takes part in this chapter. Rare footage of an enemy actually using rescue. Please tell me that was a pitfall. Oh. It's sometimes like, I've heard stories of people who've said that that guy has rescue staff people on top of the pit and then had them immediately fall in the pit before. Yes, that is a stone thrower, not a ballista, so it's going to do terrible damage. 1! Yay! You are a very useful siege engine. Another shine barrier, so we can probably guess where the pits are. Ah, Rolf really should have been able to go further that turn. I will definitely need to make use of Leanne here. But that I'm almost a positive with pit, so... I mean, I would have Ike test it, but... I also feel like these are probably pits too. That or that's a pit, so let's see. Maybe I can use the trick here. So if that is a pit, we can now pass over it safely. That was a pit, though. And that's probably a pit. So let's not go there. And this is just not enough damage, but the support is working through the sandbags. And there's a crit. Still no Astra from Mia, though. I remember, like, I saw a video a long time ago, back when I was in the 6-month waiting period for this game, waiting for the European version. I mean, I guess it was kind of worth it, because as much as I really want Ranulph to find some things, if I do this, then she'll be able to get these two, so I might as well. But yeah, European version, so... You know what, I might actually have to have Tanith go there, because I feel like that's probably a pit. Waiting for the European version to come out, I was watching a lot of IGN videos on this game. Some, like, just sort of... And there was, like, an interview with one of the localizers, I think, where they talked about the support system, quote-unquote, in this game. And I remember footage from there. It showed this chapter and Soren and Mia having a generic support talk. I know, it's funny. Often whenever you just see videos of pre-release footage in a game, you kind of remember it. I'm gonna do an Ike testing the waters here. That's not a pit. Okay then. However, I get the feeling that there is going to be a pit right behind it, because they love to lull you into a false sense of security. There actually aren't that many non-magic users there, so maybe, although if that's a pit, then, so let me just quickly test that. It's not a pit, good. If once again, if Soren falls in a pit, he's pretty much dead. No questions asked. And I guess I could show Ike fighting things also. Here are Tiban's stats. I'll just let that sink in. Also, his talent is an even better version of a normal talent. And also, he has an SS rank in Strike. In fact, now is probably a good time to talk about it after I show Ragnar. I mean, Ragnar's pretty much the exact same as it was in Path of Radiance, but its animation's got a little bit of an overhaul. The Shockwave looks even cooler. I always wish they referenced the Shockwave in Smash Bros. Somehow, but they don't really. What I was saying is, though, about Lagoos and Strike weapons. This is one of the few times we get to see the Phoenicis emblem on a generic soldier. Definitely, they kind of pale in comparison to their king, but actually now I can probably show this. So Ulki has an A rank in Strike, and he has 8 might and 90 hit on his talons. The Phoenicians have an S rank in Strike, and they have 13 might and 90 hit on their talons. So, I haven't actually talked fully about the way that strike weapons work in this game, mostly because I tend to forget about it because it's so hard to raise strike ranks in this one. Every Lagoos every playable Lagoos who isn't a Royal, I believe, starts with an A rank in Strike, and they can go all the way up to SS, and every rank increase in Strike they get, their natural weapon has an increase in might and sometimes in hit rates. And the increase in might is pretty significant, as you can see between Ulki's A-rank talons compared to the S-rank talons. And this was actually why someone pointed this out to me in comments. Remember back in 3.6 when there was an enemy cat, and one of the enemy cats did no damage to Jill, and another cat did 5 damage to her, and they were both the same level, and I thought, like, there's no way that you have 5 more strength, but that's actually because one of them had an S rank in Strike, and the other had an A rank in Strike. You actually need to pay attention to the Lagoos strike ranks when you're fighting, I forgot to call off Tiban again, when you're fighting, when you're fighting enemy Lagoos, because it will greatly impact, just how... I was about to say, oh yay, you disabled the very terrifying catapult, but you didn't even do that. But, yeah, the enemy Lagoos will have different strike ranks, and that greatly affects the might of their weapons. So, next time we fight Lagoos, I'll need to pay attention to that. That's not bad, because at least that's not my vulnerary you're using. And this Phoenician's probably going to take the brunt of the enemy attacks here. So, Wyvern Riders might not be weak to Wind Magic anymore, but Hawks certainly still are. And with Wind Magic being buffed in this game, and the effectiveness bonus being buffed, Hawks need to be very, very careful of Wind Magic. In fact, this guy is probably going to die this turn. And I could have saved him if I'd only called him off. I guess we'll see if the priests end up finishing him. Oh, he's definitely dead this turn. What the heck are you doing? Unfortunately, no pitfall. But yeah, that guy with Rescue is really strange. I'm not really sure what his AI is or what its logic is, but anyway. Oh, and you replace it with another sniper anyway. Oh no! Let me guess. Yep, 1 damage. Okay, there are a few catapults going forward, but in fact, this guy might actually die to it. Yeah, he actually died to a catapult. That's just sad. That guy is an anti-hero NPC. That makes him sound like a dark and edgy NPC. Dark, edgy NPC, as there's a thought. Okay then. Tiban, target here. You are too good. You need to run away. And stop wasting our experience. Okay, I get the feeling that if I do this, someone's going to fall in a pit, but I'd probably rather Nia fall in a pit than Rolf fall in a pit. You know what, once again, Ike will test. I thought so, and I have a feeling that this is also a pit, so who wants to... Actually, no, wait, let's not have a willing volunteer. Let's instead move Sagoon there, so even if that is a pit, I won't fall in it. But there's probably another pit around here. No pit, nice, okay. And let's... I kind of want to use the crossbow for the counter-attacking, but I also want to Yeah, see, I can shoot from 3 range with Silencer or Sky Sentinel, which is cool. Marksmen still aren't the greatest class in the world, but they're not terrible either. Yeah, I did give Rolf Paragon, I thought I did. But I should probably, like, I'll need to remind myself to remove that in 3 endgame. Let's see, if Geku falls in a pit. No, he did not fall in a pit. And Nia will not fall in a pit that way. Yeah, the problem with Leanne is that she has very low movement, so also she's probably in danger from these catapults. Yeah, Leanne's low movement means that can happen. I should have seen that coming. I think this is about the point in the chapter where you actually can't proceed without flyers if you trip too many of these pits. Yeah, this is actually a bit of a problem. Wait, no, where can Leanne go? She can actually reach there, which is good, but maybe... Yeah, I need to shift Ranulf. And behold, a Capstat Laguz. 40 skill, although I'm pretty sure Rend is speed percent, so in this case, Ranulf would actually prefer skill percent. I think I'll go for a double champ with Yuzu. And I might want to see if Ha can take out... No, he can't. He might be able to in melee, but that means he probably won't be able to run away. Not that he really needs to. Ha at this point is pretty much invincible. I hope I didn't speak too soon. And he has become even more invincible. Invincible +1. He has another many, many levels of invincibility to go. And he is our second SS rank bearer. And the SS rank axe is actually a pretty special one. You can probably guess what the SS rank is if you're at all familiar with Ike's appearances in other spin-off games. So, who wants to bet that one of these is a pit? No pit. Okay then. I'm actually not being that good with predicting pits in this run, surprisingly enough. Back in Path of Radiance, I actually predicted pits quite often. And you are down and disarmed, but that doesn't matter. So this chapter's going pretty smoothly overall. Where do I go? There isn't a sniper over there. Quite a few back there. There's a lot of enemies congregating around this area. There's not that much resistance near the boss. Let's... I really don't want Tanith getting sniped by archers, but I'm gonna go ahead and... That is Elwyn, yeah. So what I said about wind being dangerous to hawks, it applies to Pegasus Knights as well. Even though they have a lot more resistance than hawks, they're usually fine most of the time. Let's maybe not have Tanith fly in there. Not yet, at least. Now, is there anyone for you to physic? Nah, might as well save this hawk. I forget if they're worth bonus experience for surviving or not. And also at this... I really, really don't want Soren to go in a pit, but Hara's blocking there, so even if he does go in a pit, there aren't many enemies that can attack him, and he did not fall in a pit. Nice. So Soren can attack something else in this chapter. I just realized something. Before I end this chapter, I need to trade Soren's Meteor away. That's actually of utmost importance. Because not only will Meteor kind of work against me later, but the enemy might end up spamming Meteor and breaking it, and I need Meteor before 3 endgame. So I actually have to trade away Soren's Meteor before the chapter is over. Didn't comment on that fight, but I didn't really need to. It's just another fool attacking Har and expecting to survive. And another fool who thinks that Thunder Magic actually has an effect on Har. Just notice the clouds moving in the battle background there. Interesting thing that I just noticed when I was editing a while back, I believe it was 3.2? Yeah, it was 3.2. If you rapidly speed up the video, you can actually see that the cloud shadows move across the map while you're looking at it. It's something that you don't really notice during normal gameplay because the shadows move so slowly, but in that chapter in particular, they do keep moving across the ground, and if you speed up the footage, you can definitely notice it. That's a nice touch. I just realized, has Nephany used Imbue at all this entire chapter? Oh yeah, the enemies here just like to run back and turtle. What the heck are you doing? How Not to Use Rescue, a guide by Random Dayan Bishop. Okay, those are the two worst people to get hit by that. They still take barely any damage. Rise is going to heal the full amount with his Physics Staff. Thankfully, the passive healing effect from Staff is not affected by, okay, really need to watch out for my Pegasus Knights here, because that's a crossbow! But yeah, it doesn't cost a staff use to use that passive staff healing effect. Let me guess, 1-1-1. Who here is surprised? I thought not. And again, the Dayan Wyvern Lords look like Bednion Wyvern Lords. That was kind of an awkward looking animation too. Okay, I appreciate that crit off, because you probably wouldn't have doubled. And that gets us the Horse Slayer, which Har might as well take. Because he can actually use that. It's weird how inconsistently that... I mean, I know I've probably said this in another Fire Emblem video, but it's always inconsistent what that's referred to as. Sometimes it's Horse Slayer, sometimes it's Rider's Bane, sometimes it's Night Killer. In fact, I think it was Night Killer in Path of Radiance, so it's inconsistent even within its own universe. I'm pretty sure it always had the same name in Japanese. Of all the names, I think I prefer Rider's Bane, but... I think it was Rider's Bane in Echoes as well, which makes sense, because Echoes is set in the same universe as Shadow Dragon, which is the game that first called it Rider's Bane. Yeah, they do get reinforcements eventually. I do really like this fanfare. It, unlike the battle theme, actually does sound kind of heroic. Though there is one, let's just say, not so much downside with the battle theme, but with the fanfare, but I'll talk about that later. Okay, I have this very strong feeling that there is a pit somewhere there. I wish that was a one-shot, but it's not. But yeah, this is also a really useful facet of marksmen being able to shoot from 3 range. They can attack 2 range users without fear of counterattack. I just realized I probably should have... I said in the last base that I would not be breeding Corrosion. Oh well, I mean, if it's on Rolf, I doubt Corrosion's going to really do that much to be bad for me. Let's scout this out with Ike again. No pit. No pit. No pit. No pit. Okay then. That's actually really surprising. Because I could have sworn there's one point in this map that if you activate all the pitfalls, there's no way foot units can pass that point without being carried by flyers. And I'm surprised that I haven't, unless the pitfall positions are different on hard mode. Maybe that's true, because I'm surprised that there are no pits there, unless it's later on there are pits there. I don't have the exact pit locations memorized. Okay, you need to get healed, Leanne, right now. And unfortunately, Ranulph really hasn't done much. I feel like there's probably a pit somewhere around. Yeah, there's probably a pit there. Tanith is just standing on top of it. Also, speaking of pitfalls, don't attack crossbow users with Pegasus Knights, that's a bad idea. They will die horribly. And there are 3 archers up there, so... I mean, I suppose Gatry can probably afford to scout out over here to see if there are no pits there. Good. That is a pit, though! Was bound for that to happen sooner or later. I could actually get Rolf over there. Maybe? Good, Mia didn't fall in one. Because Mia's been set back a little bit by falling in a pit earlier in this chapter. So that's a pit. I have a feeling that that's a pit as well. In fact, I feel like that whole, you can't pass a certain point with foot units thing, it only occurs if you let the enemy use their shine barriers in the right configuration. In fact, I could try and snipe the guy with the shine barrier to try and prevent that from happening. Though I really want that crossbow gone. However, yeah, let's do this and Storm Sword the crossbow. Sometimes I forget that promoted foot units can move as far as they can. This is like the anti-echoes. Wow, even against a class not known for its defense, crossbows are only doing 1 damage. The stronger varieties of crossbows are a lot better. Okay, now, hopefully Rolf doesn't fall in it. Well, obviously this isn't a pit, because it's the ballista. Because it's the, And good, Rolf has enough damage. So, let's snipe this guy down, and hopefully, because I know this will be a level up, hopefully Rolf gains strength, but I really shouldn't have spoke too soon. Yeah, corrosion on 3rd tiers, you tend to activate it a lot. If you don't gain strength, I'm going to reconsider promoting you to 3rd. You gain strength, that's fine. Though now I'm going to have to contend with the fact that your speed growth is not that great for a sniper. But you're still hitting pretty hard. There are quite a few decently powerful physical enemies. Okay, the crossbowman is gone, but there is, there is a regular archer over there, so it's still not totally safe for 10th to just go flying in. I think I need to leave Sagoon there, because I'm sure that's a pit. Though I've been wrong about pits many, many times in this chapter. I mean, I could just try and see if I'm right also. Oh no, your transform gauge is fine. You know, maybe Sauron will go here. Welp! That was a pit. So, Ha will now just one-shot this guy. Overall, not a particularly hard chapter if you don't rush and only risk falling in a pit if you can afford to. Because if at any point Soren had fallen in a pit near some physical enemies, I've actually had 3rd tiers die on this map before. Well, that was a given. And Rolf isn't really dodging all that much, I think because he started this chapter in bad biorhythm. They do have a lot of physics staves. I guess they're learning from their leader, the Maiden of Dawn. That's just Gatry, isn't it? Yeah, and 1 damage. You zigzagged in kind of a weird way. I feel like that implies there's a pit around there. And the enemy just rocked themselves. And of course, the enemy was the only one who took more than 1 damage because they suck. I really should have put a range weapon on Gatry, but he can't actually counterattack anyway because he's in a pit. Because he's considered stunned. Almost made it through. Yeah, that's kind of a problem. I want to see what happens if I attack the hammer with Gatry. I feel like it's not going to do very much damage. Okay, that's a ton of enemies down there. I need to break through this quickly, and I'm actually going to have Ike stand where he is and use Ragnall, because I feel like... Wait, no, didn't I check before there was no pit there? Oh, well, just in case, I'm going to have Ike stand here and just use Ragnall. Why is there no battle animations for this? That's really strange. Wait, no, I was going to test the hammer. So firstly, let's go ahead and... This is where I'd much rather have Raisin on hand than Leanne, even though any Heron at this point is kind of at serious risk of being splattered. The enemy hit rates are getting a little better, but they're still not really good. We're still vastly outclassing them. But again, yeah, the Japanese version, you only being able to have a maximum of 3 third tiers at this point must really, really affect things. Okay, so... Actually, that's way more damage than I expected. That's no doubt due to... let me see. Yeah, no doubt due to the way that... Might as well get rid of the flyer first. The way that effectiveness bonus works now. Gatry is pretty much obliterating everything at this point thanks to his insane strength. And being able to double a surprisingly large number of things thanks to his insane speed for a general. And getting insane experience for a 3rd tier thanks to Paragon. Okay, that's, well, I mean, I know for a fact that's not a hit, but... Guess I'll have to add either Har or Roll to take down the Wyvern Lord. Yeah, I really need to chant for a few people here, but I also need to watch out for Leanne, because then she'll get hit by 2 Cannonball rocks. And thanks to Leanne's lower movement than Raisin, she can't really Kanto away from rock range all that effectively. That was pretty good. No speed, but a lot of other relevant stats. Okay, I could try and snipe you, but here's the thing. I feel like there might be a pit there. Or there might not. We won't know unless we try. Okay, no pit. That means I can use my 3 range to snipe you. So yeah, this has been a good showing of just how 3rd tier... A really good showing of how 3rd tier archers work. Deadeye still looks like it did in Path of Radiance, but now it actually does something, so the cool animation is not wasted. Really, the only reason to teach anyone Deadeye in Path of Radiance is to see the animation, because other than that, it's really just pretty bad. I mean, really bad. Deadeye is one of the worst mastery skills in a game that has a lot of awful mastery skills, and that's saying something. But it's actually really good in this game. Mostly because the mastery skills in this game are stupidly overkill. Soren's doing a little bit more in this chapter than I thought he would, which is at least good. I don't know if I've already said that before, but I kind of want to break through because we're at 50 minutes already, and I'm not really as close to the end as I'd like to be. However, there is still a loose sniper hanging around. Yeah, I could get a double chant in, but I guess I'd kind of want to chant from Mia. Oh, there are a few enemies up there, including... Okay, well, I could do this. I'm always positive that Ranulph's going to fall in a pit if he does this, but let's try. Let's see if he... No pit. Okay, good. Not going to one round unless I get Rend. Come on, Rend. Show me nope. No rending clause for you. No rolling a 6 to... how did rending work back in the last time I heard about it in... I've gone through, like, I haven't really been keeping up with the rule changes of 140k lately, but last I checked, rending was like... I don't think rending even exists in the current version of the game, but I think it was like... I forget if it's rolling a 6 to hit or a 6 to wound that's an automatic wound that ignores armor saves. It was either one of those. Har's taking more damage than I'd like, but he's still virtually indestructible. But that virtually part could make a difference. Though there aren't really much, there isn't much in the way of mages over here, so maybe this is... I kind of want you gone though. I normally wouldn't really feel any reservations about moving Tanith here, but that's kind of bad. So, you know what? In fact, let's actually do some... No, I really want to chant for Mia. Let's actually chant for Mia. If I can get Mia adjacent to Ha, she can wind edge the Archer, and then everything will be better. And then Tanith can finally show her awesomeness. Seriously, Rayson got the best level up of all my Herons, and he has the worst growths. But I guess that is pretty typical. Yes, I need to... Actually, Storm Sword is not going to kill you. Although, knowing Mia, she's going to critical or adept here. And knowing me, she'll get neither because I just said that. Well, she got adept. Nice. But the Storm Sword is probably going to be almost run out by now. I'd kind of rather use this later, but... I at least have a ton of wind edges. Which are starting to lose their usefulness by this point, but... 9 uses on the Storm Sword. Okay, so there is still a sniper there, so I will still need to watch out for that. Wait, let me go completely straight so you have more potential... Yeah, you're not gonna die to this. This has been the only time Sekun's actually fought here, but her utility in blocking off pits has actually been pretty useful. And now Tanith... Oh, I forgot to show the description for Seraph Knights. Pretty generic description, honestly. There are still a few snipers. I guess I should just Javelin or Wind Edge from a distance. Although I should probably Javelin the one who I don't have Weapon Triangle disadvantage against. Unfortunately, no stun from a distance. I think that's the Betnion emblem on her, again, like, horse, robe thing. There has to be a technical term for that. I know there is, it's just, I feel like I'm right on the cusp of knowing it, but I just I'm not surprised at that. Yeah, in fact, I think that's actually the point in the map where you can't pass without, if you activate the pitfalls too much, but I use flyers to block them off. Never really did that trick very much in Path of Radiance' version of this map, so... kind of glad that I'm getting to show it now. And Ha's finally doubling things, which means everyone is doomed. I like how you can see a little beach in the distance there. Not that it's really relevant, but it's a nice detail. So I guess, about this chapter, I can probably talk about, I don't really know why you did that. The effect would have been the exact same regardless which ballista you used, but I guess maybe there's less people near that one? Still, it's probably not really making that much of a difference. But anyway, I'm actually really surprised that this is a direct sequel to Path of Radiance, and yet this is the first map that's a direct tribute to Path of Radiance in the entire game, which really surprises me. But I'm kind of glad for that they use more original maps rather than just reuse earlier ones. They call this kind of thing nostalgia level, I believe, on TV tropes. I almost feel like by reusing this map, they're actually trying to, like, make up for the fact that the pitfalls weren't as effective as they thought they'd be in the last one, because not being automatically hit while you're in a pit definitely made the pits less of a threat. And you know what, I'm just going to actually keep Rolf back here and might as well just use the Silver Bow has a lot less accuracy. I'm not too worried about Silencer because we will be getting a free Silencer in 3 endgame, which is very soon approaching. Although one thing that I do wonder is, I kind of feel like Part 1 could have used an extra chapter where we actually fought in Talriga. I still feel like, let me just arrange people at level just to see how everyone's doing. Rolf and Mia are the lowest levels of my 3rd tiers, and everyone else is level 3, good to know. So these two should be prioritized, and in fact I might want to shove Leanne a little bit to get these two into. I guess I can try using Grey Render here. But yeah, I always felt like the Dawn Brigade's, like, Liberation War for Daein was it escalated very quickly, and admittedly the war in this part's also escalating very quickly. I still feel like if Part 3 on its own was its own Fire Emblem game, it might be one of the best Fire Emblem games of all time. Like, if they actually had another 15 or so chapters to fully flesh out everything, and there is our next... We're just getting SS weapons all around. Our next SS weapon. But yeah, I still feel like this easily could have been a full Fire Emblem game in its own right. And if they had taken the time to fully refine it, it could have been amazing. And I still really enjoy Part 3. I'll be giving my full thoughts on this a lot later, but... Well, not a lot later, just in a couple of chapters, but... Because, oh boy, next chapter is the most controversial plot point in the entire game, and the one thing that ruins Part 3 to a lot of people. And yeah, that's gonna be interesting to brace myself for. That's good. In fact, does that mean what's Physic? Can I check what Physic is? Please tell me Physic is C ranked. It is. Okay, good. Soren can use Physic now. That is going to be a major help later on. I kind of want Neffany to rush through as well. And Ranulf hasn't really been doing very much this chapter. No Pit, good. I guess you can... I can't actually shove Leanne because... Is it Ballista? That's annoying. I wanted to chant for Rolf, but I guess I have to contain myself with just chanting for... I mean, I can go a little further forward, though. I still think it's weird that they swapped your Heron from Raisin to Leanne now. I really don't have much of an idea of why they did this. I guess they wanted to have all three Herons represented in Part 3 or something, but... Actually, no, wait, Raphael isn't even playable in Part 3, so... I'm still not really sure what's going on here. I might actually leave Har a little bit behind. Because he's getting a little bit too strong at this point. Almost wish that I'd used Tenneth a little more, but it's probably alright, as he is. Gonna go ahead and put two people here just in case there are pits. Okay, good. Hopefully we won't be cutting back there very much because they're now staying where they are. And, hi, Swordmaster. You clearly want a duel. Oh, that's a Wood Owl. But it only does 1 damage because Mia is an absolute tank of a Swordmaster as well as fast and a dodge tank. And that would have been amazing if you got Astra. She's almost hit level 3 though, which is good. Also need to remind myself once again. You're finally attacking now. Need to remind myself once again, swap Meteor off of Soren to someone else before the chapter is over. Or bad things might happen. Very bad things. Yeah, I had a feeling you'd do that. But Leanne is still fine. When it's back to my turn, I want to check something. Also kind of called that. You have Arc Thunder, but it's not like it's going to help you. Even though it does look pretty cool. And that's a bunch of enemies coming out of that tent. But I just want to check something about Leanne. Oh, okay. So, Timon dying is a game... I can't even finish that sentence. Oh, but there is another archer back there. You know what, let's do this. Come on, Astra. You can get Astra at least once here. You can tend to get everything but Astra, aren't you? Another level, though. She's doing pretty well so far. Edward might need to be a little bit concerned. Yeah, I guess I'll prioritize moving the people who have the lowest movement first. That's actually a pretty bad hit rate, although I am at worst bio than you are at best, but still. guess this is one of the few times that Great Lancers actually show their intended downside to lower accuracy. I said much earlier, though, and I still maintain this is true, that their accuracy penalty is not that much of a problem when you get really, really strong, because you're just, like, you destroy everything, and you always hit regardless of accuracy when you're this powerful. I still love Nephene's Shield in 3rd tier, and Disarm. If I'm not going to be using Heather, I should probably swap out Disarm for Corrosion, because it really, if you're not using a Thief, Disarm is just a worse version of Corrosion. And yeah, it's kind of weird. In Path of Radiance, anything being a worse version of Corrosion would mean it was awful, but no. Not in this one. Yeah, this is why cats really, really need the 5x strength from their Mastery skill. He's still not getting it. I'm pretty sure the activation rate is based on speed. I think the activation rate for Roar, which is the equivalent Mastery skill for Tigers and Lions, is strength percent, which makes sense. You know what, I'm actually going to go ahead and do this. Let's actually swap... No, I do not want Physic here. In fact, I think I want to trade Physic to someone who can't even use Staves, because if I keep having Physic on Rice, bad things could end up happening later. So I'm actually going to go ahead and swap Physic over to you. And make sure to not equip a staff. There's a reason why I'm doing that, trust me. Okay, now Har should be making sure to take out this guy, so that the skies are clear for Tanith, and we've pretty much completely overrun their position at this point. And Har has now hit Invincible +2. That's the word. I think the... Yeah, you're even out of... You have no weapons at all now. That's kind of silly. Okay, now hopefully I can protect Leanne if I send her here. Yeah, I thought that Leanne dying would be a game over here, but it seems like it's not. I really don't need to worry about pits anymore, because we're on solid ground again. I can snipe that guy, but that's a little bit cheap. Let me just see, firstly, who can Tanith get to? Tanith can actually get to quite a few people. But she's a little bit less powerful than some of my others, so I might as well have Tanith just do this first, and then have Ike fight something. Even though that's a waste of experience, Ike fighting things is still cool, because Ike is amazing. And Ragnar is amazing, and if you're not concerned with losing experience on a level 20 Ike, just go crazy with Ragnar on this map. I kind of did that on my hard file. Yeah, I guess Rolf will just go ahead and snipe you. Three range all the way over the sandbags. Not enough for a level, though. I think he's the only one here who's not level 3, at least. Well, apart from Tanith, but Tanith is not really going to be part of my main party. Yes, I can do this. Haven't actually showed Ike fighting up close with Ragnar, but it's roughly the same result as Ike fighting at range with Ragnar, complete annihilation. Almost there. Almost. Guess I can send Uki up here. As long as I don't have him attack the boss, because that would be really stupid. Kind of figured you'd do that. I don't think that general moves, because he's the one thing standing between us and the boss's tent. Which is actually a seize point for some reason. Yeah, before we seize, though, so has Soren traded... Yeah, Soren has traded away Physic. I think it's yes, you. And he's also traded away Meteor to someone who can't use it. That's also good. Anything... No, I'll talk about that once we get to the boss himself. Oh, wait, no, we can just slip through there. Well, if you're one-rounding with the silver bow, might as well still just use the silver bow. This is back when we fought Patrine in the last game, and we're approaching the area where Ha first joined us, so who would have thought? It's interesting that there were actually quite a lot of people in the comments who didn't think Ha would be recruitable. Most people were glad when he was, but when you first see him, he does feel like he'd probably just be an enemy commander, but no, he actually does join you. Okay, so I guess Rolf's strength is finally averaging out, which is good. Can't quite get Gatry into range. Okay, now Astra would be great right now. Please get Astra. Nia has not been getting Astra for me so far. And it continues. I mean, she's still destroying everything even without Astra, but yeah. I mean, Astra in this game's not the best. It's 5 hits at your normal damage, and none of those hits can critical anymore. Also, by the way, don't do this. Yeah. That's a sneak preview of what I'm going to be doing with a crossbow later on, though. Though not against flyers. Okay then. I kind of want to show Ike's special boss dialogue with this guy. Because Goron, I find, is a very interesting character, and oh, I can't shove you because you're, I guess I can get Gatry here. Sort of want... Actually, Rolf doesn't even need to be the one to defeat the boss now. Yeah, whoever beats the boss is probably going to level 4, so it doesn't really matter who does it, but... I don't think I'll be able to get Soren to the boss even if I want to, but Soren might be able to heal people, like you. Oh, that was stupid. Gatry can't even get to the boss anyway. I guess I could go for Rend, but yeah, I sort of want Ike to be able to do this. But Ike will completely... Actually, Ike won't completely obliterate with Ragnar, so I guess I can show the conversation here. Yes, all of them, because they're all dead now, so nice job commanding them. So, I find Goron, like I alluded to before, a really, really interesting character. And I actually think I meant to mention him in my Why I Don't Think Micaiah is a Mary Sue video, but I think I forgot to. So, the reason why I think Goron is really interesting is because Goron is, like, his whole character is being fanatically devoted to Micaiah. And the interesting thing is, he is not depicted sympathetically at all. Like, his devotion is supposed to come across as really unsettling. And that's just something that you would not see in a Mary Sue story. Anyone who is utterly devoted to a Mary Sue character must be depicted 100% positively. Because that's what the story is all about. Anyway, I can go on and on about that, but, instead I think I'm not really sure who to do this with, but I almost want to go for a Ren with Ranulf here. So again, they're showing the darker side of Micaiah's actions during Part 1 and the devotion that she inspired him to. There it is! It actually does look pretty cool. It almost looks like a fighting game super move. So, I could trade that over to Rolf now if I wanted to, but maybe I won't. So, it's about at this point that you need to make some decisions. If you want to swap around weapons on anyone in the Grail Mercenaries, now is a good time. If you want to remove healing items from anyone on the Grail Mercenaries, now is also a good time. The Holy Guard are good candidates to give the healing items to, because they will not be participating in, let's just say, a certain other chapter. So I'm actually going to go ahead and actually remove most of my healing items. The Holy Guard are going to act as my storage for now. Is there anyone else who can afford to take some stuff? In particular, I've seen Ike have an elixir at this point before, and if he does, you definitely want to trade it off of him. There's also something else you want to do with Ike, but firstly, okay, yeah, that concoction needs to go, and Ranulf will be involved next time. Probably don't want to trade that Aqua over. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take Ike's concoction now. Anyone else want to trade your weapons away? Okay, anyone else want to get rid of your vulneraries? Let's go ahead and unload that. You have 2. Might as well unload both of them. We are just getting her inventory full of vulneraries now. And, okay, I think this should be pretty much good, but another thing you want to do before you end this map, unequip Ragnall on Ike. This will help later on, trust me, but for now you want to remember, unequip Ragnall on Ike. And yeah, Soren definitely doesn't have Meteor, that's good. You know, Soren having healing staves could really backfire on me in the next chapter now I think about it. I'm going to actually go ahead and trade away Soren's healing staves. And actually, it's not the next chapter, it's the chapter after. So, Soren has no healing staves. Now I think I can afford to end this. And Ike is no longer, yeah, he's not equipping Ragnall. Let's go. So you can probably guess why I'm doing this. And yeah, they are a lot stronger. The Dayan army was pathetic in Path of Radiance. I wonder if that's kind of like a fourth wall-breaking reference to how weak enemies were in that game. And that's saying something. Meanwhile, back with the Dawn Brigade... Unfortunately, they have Senate people with them. Well, of course, but here's the thing. You are not actually with Dayan, so... Of course, the Senate just wants to throw Dayan under the bus at this point. Dayan is just a pawn for them to sacrifice to slow us down. I'm pretty sure the Senate doesn't even believe that Dayan can defeat us. They just want us slowed down as much as possible, and they don't care how many Dayan lives that costs. And yeah, Peleus made Micaiah the commander of the entire army, so her word is law. Again, she outranks you. Nice one, Soth. Though this could backfire on them eventually. And more of this. Anytime the Heron sense a voice, you know something's going on. The last time this happened, it led Micaiah to the ruins in the desert, and the time before it happened, it led us to Palmeni Temple, where we found the truth about, well, most of the truth about what happened with the medallion in Ashnard. So it looks like the Herons are heading for Dayan. Everyone is going to converge at Dayan now. That is where things will get really intense. And we'll be seeing that next time.